Well, we just got back, and that might have been the most interesting 2 days we've ever had.
It's an atomic fire, and the Soviets can't contain it. Thousands may already have died or been seriously contaminated. Good evening, I'm Ted Koppel, and this is Nightline. The Soviet reactor is still burning. The weather is shifting, and both those factors could be critical in determining the scope of this nuclear disaster.
There has been a nuclear accident in the Soviet Union, and the Soviets have admitted that it happened. The Soviet version is this. One of the atomic reactors at the Chernobyl atomic power plant near the city of Kiev was damaged, and there is speculation in Moscow that people were injured and may have died.
От Совета министров СССР.
An official announcement from the Council of Ministers. There has been an accident at the Chernobyl atomic power station.
The civilian plant in question is in the Ukraine. It's something of a showcase facility, featured here in Soviet Life magazine, which extolled its safety record. It's near the city of Kiev, population 2.5 million.
Good morning, Kiev. Good morning to you guys too. It's 6 a.m. Just got up a little bit ago. I couldn't sleep. I'm so excited. Maybe doesn't show it right now, but in less than 2 hours, we're getting picked up. We're on our way to Chernobyl, and yeah, last night was I couldn't sleep, so I'm so looking forward to it. I mean, yes, this is a tour. We went a little bit over the top for it, but I'm going into this with an open mind because while I have my knowledge of Chernobyl, I'm not going to act like some history buff. I'm not. So that's what they're for. I'm going to soak in everything I can, and I hope you guys do too, because this is kind of one of those really like unique, one-of-a-kind locations. Maybe even just a once-in-a-life experience. So let's all just take in the knowledge that we can, okay? All right, let's get going. And our ride has arrived. So let's get on our way. While still filled with excitement and anxious to realize what we were about to experience, while traveling the almost 2 hours across the Ukrainian countryside, we would soon enough be fully enveloped by Chernobyl. Alright, so we just got to the first checkpoint for Chernobyl. They're just dealing with some paperwork stuff for us, and we're looking at the checkpoint. I can't show it because, just like pretty much any military stuff, especially me, is knowing you don't photograph the base entries, checkpoints, stuff like that. It's just a no-no. So we're just hanging out, kind of waiting on some paperwork stuff to be done. There's a couple of the big groups going in across the street from us. So hopefully we won't have to deal with them too much. But apparently it's not too busy. I mean, it's gotten popular over the last couple of years, so not shocking. Again, it's such a unique location. You probably see like the big group behind us, but that's why we're on our own. It's just us with Eeyore, the guide. So hopefully we can take all the time we want in certain locations. And yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. So let's keep going, guys.
You have a little radiation.
Yes. So yeah, they just gave us this little device, and this over time is going to track how much radiation we actually accumulate or are exposed to. And so when we leave, they're going to compare it to what it is now to when we leave, and that'll tell us how much actual radiation we've been exposed to over the time that we stay in until tomorrow night. So that's kind of cool and alarming at the same time, but you know, it's supposed to be pretty safe, so I'm not too concerned, but it'll be kind of cool to see. You're so excited.
Of course.
So now we're past the first checkpoint.
Yeah.
Now we're in the 30-mile exclusion area.
Yeah, so
or 30-kilometer.
Yeah. Finally, we are in 30K zone right now. Yeah, so we are officially in exclusion zone. We're also in a region called Polisia. It stretches through Ukraine, Poland and Belarus, mostly Ukraine and Belarus. It's old historical area. People have been living here for a long time. City Chernobyl, which is often referred to the accident, is actually a very old historical city. It formed near the river port, and the first written mention is 1193, but actually it has nothing to do directly with the power plant. It was just built here. It's old, more than 800 years old, and it just gave the name to the power plant, but no direct connection. Only after the accident it was already the center of the liquidation. 1970 is the year of construction of the power plant and Pripyat city. 1977, first reactor is launched. End of 1978, second reactor is launched. 79, Pripyat receives legal status as a city, so that's why the power plant is called Chernobylska, because two reactors are working only a year after Pripyat becomes a city. Then 81, third reactor is launched. 83, fourth reactor is launched. So the one that exploded was the youngest and the newest, and it worked only 3 years before the accident until 1:23 a.m. on the 26th of April 1986. And when explosion happens, of course, all the people had to be evacuated. So evacuation of the 10K starts on the 2nd and 3rd. It goes more or less okay. People are hard to leave. They don't really want to leave, but they are forced by military, and they kind of agree because they still believe that this is temporary. They are told that this is a temporary evacuation. People are moving, yeah, they receive the big cargo car so they can bring a lot of things with them. They can take some cattle, if cattle is clean, of course. Then evacuations start to spread. Basically 30K start to evacuate from 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and starts to stretch a lot because people see that 2 weeks passed and nobody's coming back. So this is definitely not as temporary as they are told to. An evacuation stretches so bad that the last settlement is evacuated in 92. It's Poliske settlement, year after the collapse of Soviet Union. And of course, people thought, even many scientists thought, that this could be like a real desert. Yeah, it could be like nothing, no alive creatures here, no plants, because everybody saw what happened with the red forest, with the big chunk of the pine forest, which died because of the high levels of contamination. And right now we can see that actually trees don't care much. They started to grow absolutely everywhere. You would see it in Pripyat, you would see it in Chernobyl too, in the villages. They occupied absolutely everything. Also, if you are paying attention, this road looks like new because it actually is new. Our president was coming here on the 26th of April, on the anniversary of the accident, and just a month before his arrival, yeah, the new road was made here. It wasn't that bad actually before, but yeah, now it's even nicer. Also, you can see that there are big sides, and mostly all the time you would be driving, you would always see that there are big sides on the road. This also was made on purpose after the accident, so you wouldn't have any contact with the soil. Yes, you'd always keep your car clean, and the roads would be washed and also kept clean. Interruption here. Here we crossing the river Bush. This is kind of a natural border of exclusion zone. Main part of the zone, if you enter from this part of the country, is located this way.
So right now there's still approximately 100 people, give or take, that kind of live in the area.
Yeah, usual self-settlers. Yeah, plus 2,500 workers in this city, plus another 2,500 people coming from Slavutic city directly in 10K zone.
Interesting. Alright, we're stopping to see a plaque, kind of like a memorial for Chernobyl City, real quickly. So we're gonna get some shots of this, plus a little history, probably more. So that's always good. It's important to know history, so we're learning a lot. Wow, that was zoomed in on my face. That sucks. Yeah, my camera's not zoomed in on my face. Some days, I can watch for cars. And Geiger counter still 0.17, very low, so that's good. So let's keep going further in.
So basically, it's a small function in a small town, but with the certain limitations. So basically, they follow many rules as we do. Yeah, it's not really allowed to walk here in open shoes, in shorts, with without a t-shirt or something. Yeah. You can smoke here. Some guys who live here, they sometimes break limitations, and administration is less strict on them. But in general, it's also forbidden. Yeah, you wouldn't see people having picnics on the grass here, laying down somewhere, or swimming in Pripyat River is also forbidden. There is a curfew. You're not allowed to walk after 11 in the evening and before 6 in the morning, and you're not allowed to drive a car after 8 in the evening. But also there are like bars, cafes, there is a gym, there is the post office, Palace of Culture.
So kind of average small city, just with some extra, some extra stuff going on.
Yeah. So this thing is actually the angel of apocalypse. So there are verses in the Bible saying that the third angel of apocalypse would blow his trumpet, and a wormwood star would fall on the ground and poison 1/3 of the waters, and they would become bitter, and people who drink them would get sick. So this was used as the idea for this memorial. It's called Wormwood Star Memorial because Chernobyl is actually the actual word in Ukrainian. It means the wormwood. It's the name of the plant, wormwood.
Okay.
So that is the museum. Before it was the cinema. It was renamed and remade into museum. Storch is the symbolical bird in Ukraine, and here it was used to symbolize the people. People are the storches who are living in their nest, who are building them for many years, and later we see on top the nest burning, so it's showing that people were not able to come back. And storch could even actually die if you ruin his nest. It was showing the people who were getting over this evacuation really bad. So these two concrete plates, they show us the shape of exclusion zone right now.
Okay.
So in the beginning, the model was used of 2 concentric circles, as it was on your certificate, because this is kind of the explosion of the bomb. Yeah, there was never a model what to do actually if the power plant explodes. Only later, when finally all the measurements were done, the dosimeters checked the territory, they understood that wind was moving everything to the west mostly, and to the north. Yeah, but we don't have the Belarusian part over here, so there's like extra Belarusian part here. And these candle holders, they are symbolizing some of the villages. In general, there were 96 evacuated in Ukraine and 92 in Belarus. And on the anniversary, on the 26th of April at night, here, people place candles and light them. So this bigger part is the 30K zone, this is the 10K zone.
Okay. It's actually really cool. It's really interesting.
And here is the Alley of Sorrow, with the names of the villages which were evacuated from the territory. So in general, this is the usual road sign in Ukraine, but here they were moved a bit lower to make it look like crosses.
And so each one of these is in remembrance, so they have all the villages, though.
Yeah. So on this side, they look like a usual sign, but if you look backwards, you could see that they are black crossed red.
Oh, yeah.
Usual road sign would be white crossed red.
Okay.
And we would see the white crossed red later, because this alley has much more than 96 villages. Because when they did the final remeasurement, already precise remeasurement, some of the evacuated villages were allowed to come back. So it was a quick decision in the very beginning, they evacuated a bit more people than was needed. And later, territory was finally rechecked precisely, and some of the villages really came back. Then Novoshepelichi, there was only one guy with the wife living in the 10K zone, the only self-settler of the 10K zone. He was living here, he died in 2016. So Chernobyl 2. This is secret military settlement for the Duga radar. You will go into to see it. Station Yanev, also buried underground. Buildings are buried. Station is still working. Right now it's a place for the spent fuel cars to turn around. It's near the station. And that strange thing in front of us. This is kind of a social network of Chernobyl, which was supposed to work, but luckily internet overcame it, and there's now much better way for people to find each other. So the idea was that you come here and you leave your data in a shelf with the name of your village, and then somebody else might come here from your village and find you or leave his data also, and you would find each other. Because during the evacuation, it's still 80s, there is no centralized base, there is no way to find out where everybody go. So, for example, you as a husband could be left here for the liquidation, and your family went somewhere, and there is no way to find it. People would lose each other for years. Or if maybe it would happen a bit rare with the families, but more with just people from the village. It was no way to find it because there was no centralized base where you just come, type it, and okay, this is Vasil Vasilyevich. Yeah, he's now living in other part of Ukraine or in Russia. Yeah, so this was a big problem for people to find each other.
Yeah, I could see that being not very efficient.
Yeah. Here is Pripyat city itself. Yep. Here is Chernobyl city. We're here exactly. And here is Politska town. And it was evacuated the last year in '92.
Okay.
Walking down this pathway of villages of the past, it was surprising to us just to see how many actually existed and still had actual residents living in it.
So if you turn around now, you will see that they are very white cross-thread. This means that people moved in here again. So these are right now inhabited villages.
Okay.
They were evacuated, but people are actually living here.
Quite a few.
Was really big pressure from the people on the administration, because people really wanted to come back. They never really cared about how dangerous it is, and they would just push, and more people were let into the villages. Right now we still have settlements which are outside of the zone, but it's not very healthy to live there. They're mostly in the north of Ukraine, in Zhytomyrska Oblast, even in pretty far away in Rivnenska Oblast. Laboratories are coming there, checking the food, checking mushrooms, berries, potatoes, and milk. And the amount of cesium in that food is higher few times than the norm, depending on the area. So it's not healthy to eat that. But people don't listen.
Oh, home is home. So
Yeah.
some people say.
Yeah.
Quite a walk to cover all the villages.
Yeah. So over there, behind the birches, there is a building on the other side of the street. That is a gym. Yeah, gym in Chernobyl.
Gotta have one.
I mean, people stay here for half a month. I mean, they have to do something. This one, and we passed a bull a bit deeper on the left. They were just brought from the villages, so they won't be destroyed and lost. They look
That's
like
cool though.
here. Yeah, so this part of memorial is connected already to Fukushima accident and to bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So in general, it may sound weird, but Japanese and Ukrainians in this case are very connected, because we were using a lot of data of Japanese guys for curing our people, because they had pretty big experience in that. And after 2011, Fukushima accident, they would use a lot of our experience in cleaning. So we would cooperate all the time. They often come here and we share the data. We were coming there and getting their data. And if you're wondering what is this is the fuel rod. Yeah, so if you expected the uranium rod to be green and glowing, I must disappoint you. This is how it looks. The 18 zirconium pipes with the uranium oxide tablets stacked inside. So there are two of these thingies connected one on top of the other, so it's 7 meters, and this is to put into the reactor.
That's really cool though. I mean, to be able to like see it too.
So here is the post office. It's still working. You can see some green letters and digits over there. It's usually they would just show time and temperature or something, and here they show the amount of radiation in different areas.
Oh, that's cool.
So there's this system. It's called ASCRO. I can't remember how many exactly of these boxes are around the zone. I think around like 70-ish something. They're just all over the zone, and they measure the radioactivity 24/7.
To see any changes and
Yeah. So you can find this information at the webpage of Chernobyl exclusion zone. It's available all the time. So anywhere you hear some fake news about, Chernobyl being exploding again, radioactivity increasing, everybody's running away, just check the webpage and you would see if there is any increase or not. So this is the map. Hard to understand from here because everything in Ukrainian. It's pretty big, so only a bit funny. So we are here right now. We entered lower there. We went through Chernobyl village, Zalisia. Here is Chernobyl. And then we would go to Lelip, Kopachi, and Pripyat. This is our big thing. And today, because the zone is closed for the transportation of the fuel, we would actually take a turn in Chernobyl, go to the side, and then drive to Krasne village.
okay.
So there is no connection like that, so you have to go around. But yeah, in general, all this is the zone.
It gives a nice visual layout, at least to really see.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, basically when we come here, we see a small part because the biggest amount of industry and things are here. But in general, it's really big.
Yeah, because I don't think most people knew about 96 villages. That's quite a lot.
Yeah, and it's only in Ukraine, plus 92 in Belarus.
Yeah.
Here's the last big monument of Lenin in Ukraine. Before they would stand on all the main streets, all the main squares in all the big cities. But in 2014 we started dehumanization and we removed them all.
And this is the last one in Ukraine.
We can talk that in some tiny villages you could find a boost or something, but you wouldn't find these standing big anymore. That's Sviato-Elinsky temple, it's called. During Soviet times was used as the barn. Yeah, because Soviets is an 80s society, So churches were just used as some technical buildings often, or just ruins to build some other building. But in general, people are Orthodox Christian here, and faith is really important, especially in the villages and rural areas. The people are pretty religious.
And this one's still actually functioning.
Yeah. So it's even open right now. If today is not nasty priest, they could let us in. Sometimes they're like pretty nice. Other times they're like, no filming, get out. You know,
Yeah.
You never know.
It definitely seems just kind of out of place, but I mean, it makes sense too.
So they received a bell. I think this is this one, pretty long ago, and they ring it at the time of the accident. Yes, at night on the 26th. The amount of the years is the anniversary. They ring it. So like this year was 35 times. They ring it. We can try to go in. Yeah, better not to film inside because they not always are happy about that. But we can take it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we don't have to film. Obviously, don't want to insult anyone.
While we weren't sure how people would feel about us filming inside of that specific church, we decided to respect their wishes and not film. But that didn't stop us from continuing on our journey, as we soon ventured on to our next location, not knowing exactly what to expect, or even exactly where we were going.
And here's the monument for those who saved the world. It's connected to more than 500,000 people who took part in the liquidation process. It's really important. It was put here on the 10th anniversary of the accident, so 96. Really important that here we have firefighters on the right and workers of the power plant on the left. Because before that, in Soviet times, you would always blame the workers and you would never talk about them as about the heroes. And even the first 30 people, who we right now call responders, in Soviet time they were called firefighters. And only 6 of them were firefighters. 24 of them were the workers of the power plant. But in Soviet times they would never talk about this. So it's important that here this monument was put. It was made by the firefighters, not by some sculptors. Yeah, so that's why you can see, the faces and in general, it doesn't look like a professional made it. Yeah, because there was just firefighter making it at the territory of this firefighter station behind it. It's an unofficial monument. It was put here without permission, but right now it's one of the most honorable monuments ever made and connected to the accident. Here what we can see. This is a very dangerous place. Yeah, this is number 2. It's Pripyat. So the contaminated soil which was gathered around the power plant was brought here for storage, and it's still there. Yeah, it's basically just a big wall with the roof. Here is Burakivka. You might saw pictures in the internet of the huge rows of machinery, the different military trucks, vehicles, helicopters standing on a field. So eventually they were digged under the soil. That's why we can't see them. So this is one of the most dangerous and biggest burial sites of the contaminated machinery. Burakivka is just the village where it was made. And yeah, here is Vector facility. This is the new thing built here. So we right now sort, we dry radioactive waste from around the power plant, we pack it in containers, and we bring it to the Vector complex, and we bury it. So we finally do the proper burial site, and we keep it now the way it's supposed to be. Yeah, and these guys, they are right now in charge of the radioactive waste at the territory. Yes, they do all the documentation, all the processes, basically it's the administration responsible directly for the radioactive waste.
Okay.
The machines in the back, they were of course not used on the roof. They were just used at the territory. So, on the edge on the left there is the ZIL, with a tank in the back. So machines like that, they would be used to wash everything. You would have some water with the soap, water with washing powder, and you would physically just wash the radioactive dust from the building. A machine in the center was just used as a usual car, but in contaminated territories, because it would stop completely alpha-beta radiation, and it would decrease gamma radiation up to 4 times inside. And the one on the very edge, same as the one standing at the entrance to exclusion zone. It's called reconnaissance vehicle. Has all the qualities of the previous one, but it's also amphibia, so it's possible to swim on it. It has this model has inbuilt dosimeter, and there are special places where you can shoot the flag with the amount of radiation on it. So the dosimeters, they would use this machine to make the precise measurement of the territory. This bridge originally is called the fire bridge. It would look probably a bit more fire-ish maybe with when the paint was still on and the lights also, but everything was stolen. It goes over Pripyat. From it there is a nice view on the power plant, but we'll also make a short stop. Może zaraz вже. Może sobie stałeś za długo. So in that direction we can go out real quick. And if you like to make a better picture, this is the power plant, the shiny thing, the new safe confinement. Then the cooling tower on the right. Okay. Do you want to go out or this is fine how it's?
It's probably okay. Yeah, way over there. Cooling tower. The reactor itself. So now we passed that checkpoint. Where does this lead?
What?
We passed that checkpoint. Where does this lead?
This goes closer to Belarus actually. It's moving more north. We're in 10K zone. So another part of the 10K zone is closed because of the transportation of the spent fuel, but physically it's pretty hard to get from here because we're separated with Pripyat to there. That's why this part is kind of open. So we're going here to some abandoned villages. Main aim for us would be Krasne village. This is pretty big, around 3,000 people live there. And there is big wooden church still standing there. It's the main thing to see, but it's also a nice village to walk around, take a look. There are more things left than in, for example, Zalisa village or other villages we passed because it's far away. It's far away from the exit, it's inside of the 10K, plus it's even close to the Belarus. So there are less and less people coming here for looting, stealing.
So even inside the 10K right now, we're still only 0.13. So still really low.
Yeah. Eventually it get a bit higher there, but still not too much. Yeah. As you would see definitely in these 2 days, you would understand that the main problem why people are not living here is because this presence of the isotopes in the soil. Physically being here is not that bad.
You got that?
Yeah.
As we ventured deeper into the 10K zone of Chernobyl, we began to wonder exactly where we were going. It felt like a long time, and in reality it probably was about an hour and a half until we finally reached a couple of our next destinations in the northern side of Chernobyl.
Equipment inside is okay, and some of them are newer and nicer.
1, 2. ain't sleeping. Rested now? No?
Okay.
But a little bit. Not too bad. And you're breaking first. Oh, I hit the .3. Yeah. Oh, there's the storm coming in.
No, I just don't want to be in your frame and you're filming.
Ah. Several cuts of this. Seen much better days. Any particular reason they just left these back here? Just
Because it's a big collective farming. So they were parked here and then they were just moved.
yeah. It's jumping all over the place. Of course, now that we're walking on the ground, it's going to do that. And as he said, we're not in the car anymore, so a little more exposed. So, it's only been a few hours, but there's a lot going on. We've traveled a good distance. As we said, now we're in the 10-kilometer area. We've been here for a while. We just went above kind of the cooling pond area. And there's my thing going off again. Because I'm on dirt. Yes. That's going off. After we even raised the threshold. Yeah, it's going crazy. That's the thing clicking. But yeah, so went above the cooling pond, kind of on a back road, because the main reactor area by the cooling pond is closed, so we kind of took a back road to get up here to see some other stuff. So, a lot of driving. Yeah, there's a lot of old farm equipment, some harvesters and such like that. They just left back here. It's kind of cool. Okay, nice come. It's like
Well, this apparently was a building here which burned down, but trees are... Here's the grain peeling station. Eventually this is here for loading out, I think. Probably. This is a turbine with the grain and air which will push it out finally.
Oh, okay.
Clean.
Yeah, because this is just by itself.
Well, you know, I think I lied to you. This was the entrance and this the outside. So here actually truck will come. Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Something you would open these and
Yeah.
so for the hay, it's basically like a stationary harvester. I'm not sure how to call it right.
Yeah. Whole conveyor belt system, loader. Some cool old equipment though. Nails. Inside.
So who was stealing all this? So some small stealing started with the liquidators themselves, basically. Yeah. Some of them would come here and would start working for a longer time, and there were some guys from poor places, and here, you know, a lot of goods left and take them. The later workers who started working here regularly also started to steal some. Even the police, even the administration, guys from outside, from villages around, especially after the collapse of Soviet Union, they would come here and start, of course, from something expensive, also from expensive metals, from the copper, from aluminium, and then just black metal would also go, and everything would slowly disappear. I mean, this is how we lived in Soviet Union after the collapse of Soviet Union. Yeah, this is, I think it's connected to mentality and, you know, life in Soviet Union in general. Like stealing, kind of, it's hard to say, but there was often not a way in Soviet Union to get something legally, and people like kind of stealing would be more okay than everywhere around the world. I would say, for example, I mean, there was no good way to buy construction materials, so people would just often take them from construction works, for example. And this is actually even literally happened with a lot of factories. So after the collapse of Soviet Union, there was the idea that let's give the people everything what they own. And many factories, they received like these cards basically with the percentage of the ownership. And they were given to each worker. To literally every person who worked, he received a part of the ownership of the company, of this factory, for example. Most of the people had no idea what to do with it because the private business never existed. Yeah, businessmen were like the basically illegals. Yeah, everything was governmental owned, and people would throw them away, would sell them for, you know, like for few rubles basically, because they didn't know what to do with it. And that's why actually in the 90s many people got crazy rich. Yeah, those who understood this, the value of this property, and a lot of like big factories were owned by people because nobody else understood why they need it, for example.
Dagger check. 1.34. Gone down. So what was this? Yeah, that's a glass everywhere, always. Is this a little warehouse? So it makes more sense. It's more like a garage, a service garage, so to say. Especially for winter times. That makes more sense. Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing it didn't get back this far.
Yeah.
Plants. Still really nice. I mean. That's all over that one. The original entry gates.
Yeah, so it is more than 200 years old. There were 18 churches before, but right now there are only 2 left. Yeah, so the one we saw today in the morning in Chernobyl town, still functioning, and this one. So eventually there would be one service a year here to keep the place holy, as the priest told me, but I'm not sure if they are still doing that right now. But originally they would do this one service. Оркестра Михаила. So yeah, we would go inside, but
It's still really nice in here. Kept up really nice. Church. So, closet area. This, I would not want to have been the guy who had to do that. Let's go up the side door and let's go up the old staircase to the top. Oh, wood too. The thing I fear the most in life is coming true right now. And it's old wood stairs in an old 200-year-old church. But so far, ooh, it's dark up here. Sorry about the banging. Oh, this is a little sketchy for me. Thank you. Yeah. Yep. First stair is kind of good. It's still there. Ooh, that's wobbly. Oh wow. There's a... maybe not.
No?
Nah, not for me. That one step's creaking. I don't trust that at all. Then the rail is kind of wobbly. I mean, maybe. We'll see. Fuck it. Why not? One in Chernobyl. Alright, well. Yeah. Inside the old bell tower of a 200-year-old church. Quite something. Definitely don't recommend this. The floor is very sketchy. And the ladder's missing several steps.
No?
Hey. Ringing the bell. That's gonna be loud on the audio, that's for sure. All right. We came, we got up here, we saw it.
We should be careful, soon people will start coming for prayer.
Yeah. And now my fat ass is going back down the sketchy ladder. All right, now we're solo. Going to Now we're solo, going to explore a little bit on our own for a little bit before we head off to the next spot after the church just now.
Yeah, at least you didn't die.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of on the last staircase. That one was a little sketchy for a big guy like me, especially with missing steps and some of it's creaking a little bit. Oh yeah. Yeah. And immediately. Should have brought our flashlights, but that's okay. This is definitely seeing Chernobyl. Yeah, it definitely looked like it used to be in a post office. Still got a bunch of documents back here. Old ledger. A bunch of cool stuff. Little brooms for dusting. Back file room, I'm guessing. Just paperwork everywhere. Oh, it's like a safe. It's broken and rusted out. It's pretty dark in there. It was just a little post office. It was just a little village, so one of the many. But this is history, so it's really exciting. We got a really low reading in here on the Geiger.
0.2.
It's not bad. Yeah, earlier it was jumping up. Mine was like 3.9, I think it got to at one point. Alright, little post office. You continue to decay beautifully here in the Chernobyl forest. The bugs around here are loud and massive. The flies especially. So we're just going to keep going. There was a couple really good looking shacks down the road a bit further. I don't remember how far back they were though, but they look pretty good. Yes, a lot of different buildings, but a lot of them are broken down, you know, just falling apart. Obviously due to neglect and age and just weathering, you know. Maybe. Number 10. Maybe. Oh, and that was a spider web right in my face. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think people come back here very often. Definitely not into the buildings. Maybe? Yeah, I should have brought my flashlight, but I got my phone light at least. Yeah, it's definitely just as like a little house. Oh yeah. Ooh, floor's a little soft right there. It's still got beds. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a basement. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, this is definitely a house. This is like a little kitchen area, little table. You got a bed in here, and a couple more beds back there. This is really cool. I like how just everything's still just kind of sitting here naturally, just wasting away. It's like just a bedroom back there. I guess this would have been like a little makeshift, you know, fireplace. Maybe also to cook some stuff. What did you do on your summer vacation? Some people going to the beach. We flew to Europe to get radiation. It's for a good cause. What's the cause, Sam?
Just exploring a bunch of shit.
For YouTube. Yeah, another little dark house, it looks like. Get my flashlights out.
There's a bunch of spiders.
Oh, yeah. Not my face again, please. Little storage cellars. Oh yeah, it's just another house. It's like identical almost to the other one. So the layouts of these were pretty similar. So this one I guess had a bed here, but it was like a box. Maybe they just put a mattress on top of it. Old photos. Guessing pages of the Bible. Obviously I can't read that. Because there's the man right there. Yeah, very simple. Simple living, that's the way I would say it. You remember what he said this monument was for?
It's World War I, World War II, but they call it.
Those lighting's weird. Here the sun's right behind him. Yeah, 1941-45. They basically ignore 1939 to 41. Or don't recognize it as part of it. Or something along the lines of that. Which was interesting. Okay, yeah, this is going to seem really sporadic because we're just kind of moving all over the place, but... Is there a bunch of mosquitoes? That and spider webs. Again, no one ventures back here much, I don't think. Definitely not to go wander in these buildings. We just climbed a 200-year-old bell tower, so this is nothing now. Our school mate? Oh, no way! There's like an auditorium. Yes.
I think it was a part of the church
Or a school or something? Yeah, or a community center? It might have been a church, yeah, like an old, small one. Floor feels pretty good in here. Okay, this is nice. Don't know what that says. That probably would tell us a lot. Ooh, the floor is sloping. It's going downhill right there. This is really nice. I like this. Yeah. All the other Chernobyl people just bring you the big stuff. You're seeing like all the little things. Some of the really old buildings. Just how kind of simple life was. Geiger counter says, why is it so hard to focus? 0.64. Pretty decent. I know. I'm guessing just this way. Probably go around this. Yeah, all the doorways are like have to be overgrown. The rest of the building's not. It's just the entryways for some reason. Probably. Well, real quick, since we're already here. Ooh, okay, that floor's a little soft. Yeah, it's just another house. It's just newer, but this one, the floor is a lot worse looking. It's just the same deal. Hey, old vodka bottle. Nice. Yeah, it's just the same thing, like exact same as the setup. But this floor is really bad, despite being the brick construction. Alright, they're calling us back, I guess, to the road.
So here, probably won't be able to make a picture, but you could see that there are hills there with the signs.
Yeah, there's a mound back there.
Yeah, can you see there? There's another sign further there.
Yep.
And there is one behind it, and behind it, and behind it. This is how the streets look right now.
Yeah, just knock it down and bury it.
Yeah. Eventually, only three villages were buried completely, because during the process itself, yeah, you would contaminate too much machinery, too much people.
Yeah. Just generally too much exposure overall.
Yeah, so because all the processes, they have to be more efficient than the bad they would do. Then you would leave it like it is. Here we usually show people the radiation. Yeah, but we saw some radiation with you already, and I would then show you some higher spots already in Pripyat city. So in this village, basically, we have only the post office left, and deeper behind the trees there are collective farms. And they were also from brick. It was possible to wash them off. Here on the left is an interesting place. I mean, it's not very interesting to see, basically just a hill. And on the other side you would see some rusty constructions. Yeah, it's interesting to understand what was there. This was the concrete reloading station. So liquidators, they would need crazy amount of concrete to fill the walls of the new safe confine of the sarcophagus. I'm sorry, to fill some the whole rooms which were in bad condition, to reinforce everything. And there was no way you would produce all this concrete here inside the zone. So it would be a lot of concrete produced in the cities, in the factories around, and it would be brought here. Then the cars would drive on top of the hill and pour it into concrete mixer cars, which would drive only this way to the pouring station and the sarcophagus, back and forth. And they would never drive farther because they would be very contaminated. Yeah, they were driving just near the sarcophagus.
Yeah.
So this was the way to contain the radiation. Important decision. In general, we call this road the Old Pripyat Road. This was like the main road to enter and leave the city. Later, another road was made much bigger and main in general, which would go around the power plant from another side. So we would avoid passing this territory, because this is the power plant and this is the western direction. So soon we would cross the western radioactive trace, one of two main clouds emitted from unit number 4, and the western one actually created the red forest.
There it is.
We wouldn't see the actual red forest anymore because it was buried.
Yeah.
So the new trees which are on top, they are new. Yeah, they grow up after the burial process. Of course they grow on top and they suck some radioactivity, so they are also not very clean, basically. But yeah, that time was decision to bury everything to avoid the fire or something like that.
Yeah, it's just more of that area.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
literal
In
trees
general,
itself,
basically, right now we call this area the Red Forest.
Yeah.
Because people often see this and say, oh my God, these are the dead trees from radiation. Here it is, here that forest. But no, it's a fire. Yeah, they happen here. So if you take your Geiger counters, by the way, and press them to the window, especially to the left side, soon, starting from that monument, you would be able to measure increased radiation.
Oh, yeah.
Because we would be passing the central part of the western radioactive trace, yeah? Press it to the window if you want to see the higher numbers, and give it some time. It will start soon. Więc nie mają
And that's the part of the crosswind piece part?
Yeah, so the central part was in here. You can make a short stop here, measure also some radiation on the left, and then enter the city.
Alright, welcome to Pripyat. Soon, not yet. Radiation here is still only about 0.7, so not bad. Soon, Pripyat.
On the asphalt, yeah, on the newest asphalt possible, because I mean this was made a few like months ago. Yeah, we moved to the soil and levels start to grow.
Yeah.
We move even farther, they grow even more.
Yep.
Especially there's a hot spot here. If we measure it here,
Oh yeah.
12,
8. Yeah.
13, 14. Yeah, so it's more here. Yeah, so they could differ, yeah, pretty easily. Yeah, so you see here is 9, and here is 14.
Yeah, mine's like
Yeah,
almost
and
12.
yours is 11. Yeah,
Yeah.
but if you move it here also, yeah, nice. Yeah, grab it and put it here.
Yeah, it's shooting up. Yeah.
Yeah, so even like 20-30 centimeters, they
Makes a
make the
huge difference.
Yeah, this is because of the air, basically. Yeah, even though the gamma radiation is strong enough to penetrate concrete and metal, still, yeah, it's stopped slowly by air. Yeah, that's why we're basically safe. Yeah, we receive the solar and space radiation because first of all it's very high energy, higher than produced here, and second, yeah, there is vacuum. Yeah, there is no air. That's why it could travel on the light years of the distance. Yeah, now our atmosphere is protecting us from the space radiation. If we go higher, we go in a plane on the altitude of 10 kilometers, then much less dense layer of the atmosphere is protecting us from the space radiation, and that's why it's so higher in the plane.
Yeah, that's a big difference in a little space.
Yeah.
Danger zone.
9,000 people living in this city, like almost 50,000 actually. This is the oldest district that was built. The construction of the building started here in 1970, but in the date of the start of the construction of the city is 4th of February 1970. We are slowly driving out on the Friendship of Nations Street. And oh my god, I forgot the album in the back. One moment. Pretend like this didn't happen.
I can edit it.
Okay, so here's the pole. Here it is.
Okay.
Here's Friendship of Nations Street. There's a monument here. It's deeper inside the trees. Yeah, we would see it slightly better in a moment.
Okay.
But yeah, here it is in general. The main part of District Number 1 and the hospital town on the right.
Okay.
So here is the monument.
Okay, yeah, there it is.
Symbols of all republics of Soviet Union. It was made by Yuri Litovchenko.
Yep.
He was mostly making mosaics in the city, but also he made this thing.
It's definitely gotten overgrown, for sure.
So the hospital town, this is how we call the part of the city which is dedicated to a big hospital, for example. So many workers, especially in Soviet times, were living here. Yeah, so there are dormitories. The one dormitory is behind trees right now. They were living in the dormitories directly in the hospital town. And there were shops, there was a tiny canteen there. Just the big sport complex. Hospital number 126 also consists from many parts. There's a surgery part, nursery part, infection diseasing part, dentist part, sanitary inspection part. There's a morgue, there's laundry, the preventive medicine part. So it's pretty big. He was even working for the 10K zone workers for Novarka company, the guys who were constructing the new safe confinement, the French consortium. He would wash the clothes here. Yeah, because this is the oldest district, you see the buildings are in pretty bad shape. If we talk about the fifths and the fourths, they look much better than here. But some of the buildings were used already in 1973 from these, so they are pretty old.
Oh, yeah.
The shop Beriska means birch, collapsed.
Yeah.
There is the main part of the hospital on the right, the polyclinic and the general admission part. On top it's written in Ukrainian, the health of the nation is the treasure of the country. And here in the basement there are clothes of first 30 responders, the first people who came to the place of the accident. So they came here after the accident, at the power plant, and before being put somewhere or being cured, yeah, their clothes were left in the basement and just forgotten there, basically.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so the basement of that building is still probably one of the most dangerous places in the zone. And you wouldn't find their clothes of the firefighters anymore because they were stolen by someone. Because I mean, they look cool, they are radioactive, you could sell it for good money, or if you are some guy who collects some cool stuff, he would like to have it for you. So we don't know for sure who take it, but there is nothing there anymore so there are no firefighters' clothes, only the clothes of the workers and the boots of the firefighters. And even though the levels of the radiation could be high there, you could measure there like 1,000 millisieverts. The main problem as usually is the dust itself. So even let it be like 1,000 in the air, if you come there for 2 hours, this would be just a yearly dose for you. The main problem would be if you go there and you inhale something and it stays in your lungs or somewhere else in your body and it irradiates you even with lower levels, but for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go out for a walk.
All right, let's do it.
Same building. This is Cafe Pripyat in front of us. Yeah, you can see the sign on top is different, but this is a bit older picture before they changed the sign to the one with the
You
neon.
can definitely tell the structure is the same design.
Yeah.
What do you got? Okay. A little over 1.
So, here are popular in Soviet Union vending machines, but interesting thing is that you wouldn't waste tin for the cans, you know, and because you can use tin for something better. So the big glass here standing.
So it actually just dispense.
Yeah. So when there's one glass for everyone to use. Yeah, you just wash it before use here. Yeah, you put it back, and then you choose which kind of syrup you would like to have. Very popular, used everywhere.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, environmental friendly. Here's the view on the central square. You have from here we're supposed to see the city center. This is the city administration.
Yep.
This is the hotel. So there is the Lenin Square. Yeah, we would go there eventually.
Yep. It's like, there it is.
Here is the river port. Before I fully continue with the river port, again measuring radiation. New place to get contaminated. Yeah. Another hot spot. And if we do a measurement here, so I have 43, 47, 51, 53. This is already more than 200 times higher than a sanitary norm in Ukraine. Yeah, but it's again concentrated here. How it appeared here? Maybe when they were washing something, cleaning, water was simply leaking and created a spot here. Yeah, we never know for sure.
Yeah.
We could have some assumptions sometimes, like near the edges of the building we could see that there was a drainage system and the water was simply pouring there. We could understand how it appeared.
That kind of makes some sense though, yeah, but it is kind of weird, it's just a random spot.
Yeah, just more dust stayed in one spot, or maybe some shorter half-life elements decayed, the longer half-life elements stayed, forming the hotspots. So this area in front of us one day was a swamp before Pripyat was built here. Then it was cleaned to make a nice entrance to the city. The Pripyat River is more to the right, and then rockets, these speedboats, special kind of speedboats, they would come here from Kyiv 3 times a day. They would stop in Chernobyl and then go here. It was the most convenient way to get here probably, because the nice weather all the time, nice nature all the time. While on the car, it is driving slowly, narrow roads, not always the best pavement, yeah, but it was a nice way. That is the cargo river port of Pripyat. It wasn't used much before the accident, actually. Then this rusty thing on the shore is actually a platform which was used to transfer people from the speedboats to the shore. I would later show you in a picture why. Then here, if it would come here, an accident wouldn't happen. You would see rising districts of the city, because power plant was supposed to get bigger and city would get bigger. So it would be at least 8 units and at least 8 districts. So it would be almost 80,000 people living over here. But right now it's a point of temporary location of radioactive waste, sand plateau. Yeah, and some radioactive soil from the city, which was taken off during the cleanup process, is buried there. I also have these pictures to show, so in this direction. So we stand here. Yeah, we just use these stairs and we stand here. This is the cafe, and this is the speedboat rocket. It actually has the sledge on which it actually goes over the water, but right now it's moving slowly, that's why they are under the water. And a bit newer picture.
Oh yeah.
So here is that platform on the left. So the speedboat was going very low to the water basically when it wasn't moving, and sometimes the altitude wasn't good enough to put people directly, so this platform was able to compensate that.
Okay, that makes sense, huh?
Called the night and day. Unfortunately, you see some pieces are broken.
Yeah. It's nice, at least a lot of it's still there.
Yeah. Yeah, mosaics are usually a bit worse condition, except few. Because, you know, this is just glass, it's not too much influenced by time, except if somebody breaks it. And this is the boat transporting atom. Here, basically everything is connected to the world, yeah, because Pripyat is a satellite city of the power plant. It was built to serve the power plant. Basically, it's made just for direct workers of the power plant, their families, and then personnel providing infrastructure for their comfortable life.
Yeah, it's just 2 more buses down there.
Yeah, and this is like nothing. Yeah, comparing. The gynecology chair, yeah, taken out by someone from the hospital like a long time ago. So it's standing here for a really, really long time.
Just sitting there for no reason.
But yeah, this part of the hospital is really bad condition. I mean.
That's a shame.
Yeah. If you would decide to go, for example, in the basement with all the clothes, yeah. So the main thing would be to have a full body protection suit from dust.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the main thing is not the gamma protection, because you're not going to stay there for hours. The main thing is to avoid the dust.
Inhaling it, especially.
So people do that illegally, so they just put some boots or special chemical protection boots, full body suit and a mask and gloves, and you're good to go. And we are entering the territory of school number 1. Yeah, there were 5 schools. School with number 1 is in district number 1, school number 2 is in district number 2.
And so on.
Yeah, and so on. Also, if you worked in unit number 1, you would live in district number 1. So this is the reason, yeah, why we're not allowed to go in the building. Yeah, this whole collapsed in 3 places. And here the biggest collapse happened around 2011. Basically, there were all 4 floors collapsed.
Yeah, that makes any building sketchy to go into. That sucks. There's just desks hanging there too.
I was attending exactly the same school. This is a pretty popular project in Soviet times. So I'm originally from a city which is like 400 kilometers away from here, and my school project is identical.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Here is a tree growing on 2 sides of the fence, yeah, at the same time.
Yeah.
Popular thing here. Kurchatov Street. This is the KBO on the right.
That's that building.
Yeah, so we stand more or less where this guy is standing. Instead of flowers, we have trees, and 2 lines are not in use anymore on the other side.
Oh yeah, but you can see where the
Yeah.
that median would have been. Like right there.
Kurchatov, he's famous Soviet scientist, nuclear scientist. He was in charge of development of the first nuclear bomb, development of the first nuclear reactor of Soviet Union, and the launch of the first nuclear power plant in the world. So Americans made the first atomic bomb, and Soviets were actually first to launch the reactor which was giving electricity for the country. In Obninsk.
This is so cool. Just walking through Pripyat. It's so like surreal. Minus the mosquitoes, it's amazing. Ooh.
So this mosaic is made by the same guy who made the sign which we saw in the tree.
Yeah.
Yuri Litovchenko. Name of mosaic is energy.
Energy.
So here is the atom, our peaceful atom, which we control. We hold it from top and from the bottom. It emits energy to the sides.
It's really nice.
Yeah, in general, this is the building for the cinema. Statue actually exists. Yeah, it was standing there when it was moved. To the power plant. You would see tomorrow. It stands in front of the power plant right now.
Very nice.
Another mosaic by Litovchenko. Music. At the wall of the music school.
Yeah.
So behind us should be a square. Yeah, we're not in the middle of the park. Yeah, we're in the beginning of the Lenin Square. I would show you this picture from better place, but just to give you the idea, where are we? So we stand here right now. We exit from here, this is KBO, we went a bit down, took a look on the cinema, went around here, this is the mosaic on the wall, and now we would walk in a square and we should have like big open space everywhere around us. So in general, I don't imagine Pripyat being the greenest city in the Soviet Union. Yeah, there was the standard concrete jungle. Yeah, they had some extra trees in the sleeping areas, but in general, open spaces, a lot of concrete plates, asphalt. So this is a new layer of the soil which was formed. So we're walking above the concrete and asphalt right now.
Yeah, I was about to say, nature took over.
Yeah, these are rotten leaves, rotten grass, some pieces of branches, dust, which eventually forms the new layer, and trees started growing up.
Yeah. I definitely wouldn't be able to tell from that photo where I was at all, really.
So here should be big open space on the left, and even some distance to the park, which is farther. This is Hotel Polisia, the main hotel of the city. Usually you wouldn't have such big hotel in such small town. It's not such small city. It's only the privilege of the satellite city, built specially for the power plant. It's like a city example for the others. This building on the right, this is city administration. The party authorities would be sitting here, and the governmental commission which came from Moscow, to be in charge of the liquidation. They would live in Hotel Polisia for a few days after the accident. Yeah, they would come here on the 26th in the evening. And they would stay here more or less until the 2nd of May. They would work here in this building and then would be evacuated in the 2nd or 3rd of May. This building was used later by Complex company. Complex was in charge of the radioactive waste at the territory. So these are the same guys, no, not the same guys, they do the same thing as the guys in front of the robots, which we saw in the morning.
Okay.
So they were doing this, yeah, they were taking part in the burial process of villages, of the red forest, of the relocation of the radioactive waste, to all the administrative and documentary work. So everything would be here. They would stay here almost until 2000. Actually, many facilities were working in Pripyat almost until 2000. Yes, letters are still there. Let the atom be the worker, not a soldier. We're getting out on the main part of the Lenin Square.
And this is still District 2?
This is kind of a center.
Oh, okay.
District number 1 is on the left.
Outside.
District number 2 is deeper there. And district number 3 is in front of us. And this is just a center.
Okay.
So here on the ground floor, this is the restaurant Policia, same name as the hotel, and in general the name of this area, like geographical area, Policia. This is the fanciest restaurant in the city, and you would marry in Palace of Culture. You would register your marriage in Palace of Culture, and then often you, if you had money, then you would have a party in the evening here in Hotel Policia. And there were people who married on 26th of April, because most of the people in the city had no idea what happened. There was no information about this. So the 26th was the absolutely ordinary day for many people. Accident happens at night from 25th on the 26th. And here in the morning, kids go to school, people go to work, and nothing basically changes. There are some little worries spreading around the city because in the morning of the 26th, another shift came to the power plant, and the first shift came back, and more people were talking about this, but still nobody was sure how bad it is, how everything is. And of course the authorities were a bit slow with everything because nobody wanted to take a responsibility to evacuate the city, and then it would find out that there was no reason to do that, so they were just waiting.
No one wanted to be the guy that overreacted.
Yeah. Okay, so Palace of Culture Energetic. Here it is.
Yeah. And there's what's left. It's like, that is definitely it.
So it was used for everything official happening in the city. It's like a general type of the building, Palace of Culture.
Okay.
So big party meetings happen here, big concerts happen here, some theater plays, they often happen here. You register your marriage here. Dancing at a disco would also be happening here. Some extracurricular activities for the kids would also happen here. And there is a tiny library inside. There's like a community center. I don't know how to call it the right way. But yeah, everything is big in the center. Usually you wouldn't have it in such type of the city. You wouldn't have such huge buildings. There's like a 16-story building. You would never have it in the city with 50,000. It would be maybe like few 9-story buildings. This is only because this is the newest, the most modern satellite city in Soviet Union. Yeah, that's why it was kind of nicer than the others. And it's not only Pripyat. All the satellite cities would be built a bit better than other cities of the same type, but Pripyat still was the newest, so they had like a bit more of everything. These were the fountains. Here you can easily see how huge trees could grow up from nothing. Yeah, before you were not sure. Definitely trees were not growing in the fountain with such huge poplars. Also, if you would also pay attention, you would see that most of the trees all the time, these are poplars, birches, and pines. Poplars and birches, they are pioneer trees. They grow the first in the new areas, and they create the better conditions for the other trees to grow. And pine trees, this is just their area. Policia, they grow here very nice, so conditions are already good for them to grow.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't use these too anymore, so they're even more overgrown. Alley is overgrown, but we drive here. So
Okay.
eventually we will drive here. Lenin was supposed to stand here. So if they would put Lenin here before the accident, this could be the last big Lenin in Ukraine, because this one would be huge. Yeah, not as the one we saw in Chernobyl.
Empty place.
And this is the supermarket. So we didn't fully have the idea of the supermarkets in Soviet Union. It started to appear in the 80s. Yeah, this is the second restaurant on the right, which wasn't fully even in use. And here is the supermarket. We would call them univermag. Yeah, it's tiny bit different, but it was getting there. So there would be like 2 or 3 in Kiev in the 80s. So in Kiev is the capital, is a millionaire city, and here in the middle of nowhere, deep in Polisa, in city with 50,000, there is one. There are like 2 in Kiev in the capital, and 1 is here. Another huge city, historical city of Ukraine, Lviv, it had the supermarket after the collapse of Soviet Union. Because before there were these stores where goods are mostly sold separately. And then the idea of supermarket appeared, pretty late. So if people who were living in Soviet Union coming here like carts, no way they had carts. Yeah, this is like something from the American movies. That you could go inside, put your stuff in the cart as much as you like. It just lays on the full shelves, and then you pay for that in the end. Usually was always like some problem with supply in Soviet Union. There were deficit goods where it was pretty hard to buy. Like caviar was almost impossible to get. You need to know the people who know where to get it. Like bananas were hard to buy, even oranges were hard to buy, and even good quality meat products. Yeah, it was a problem. Yeah, sometimes there were even problems with something ordinary like bread, like toilet paper, and stuff like this. So to have like a fully functioning store, which would be like available in every village in US, was like a big progressive movement here. Oh God. Yeah, so it's also exactly here where I'm holding. More here. Yeah, like that. Yeah, it's a bit slow device. Yes, you have to wait, and it goes. So yeah, you don't have to connect contamination with the iron or with any kind of metal. Yeah, this is the exact radioactive isotopes, which basically like a dust. Yeah, which stays in the pores and the cracks and the rust over there. So it's not the piece of metal which is radioactive. Yeah, so if we take a machine and just clean off the top layer, it'd be nice. It'd be okay. Or we just cut off this part. It'd be also okay. So it's possible to make the iron radioactive. Yeah, but it's very hard. I mean, it's possible in laboratory condition, but not in such condition that you have a fallout which made something radioactive. Yeah, if you measure radiation, it means that there are exact radioactive isotopes which stay here after the fallout. Yeah, so here is the most famous place in Pripyat, the amusement park.
Yep.
Yeah, buildings, of course, are still there. They're just covered with the trees.
Yeah, it is definitely, I mean, in a sense, like no matter what you see about it, it's the iconic kind of part that everyone knows. They see that and they go, oh, I know where that is.
Yep. So here's shooting range on the left, bumper cars, a lot of like boat swings, and a tiny carousel. So all this is very standard. I mean, you would have it everywhere around the Soviet Union. The unusual part was to have all this in small city in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, again, so, 50,000, you think it's not terribly small, but in the sense of like
in Soviet
compared to
because in Soviet such cities would be much worse looking than in US and Europe.
Again, some bumper cars. No more bumping.
So there are identical bumper cars in Lithuania, in Hungary, and in Slovenia, and everywhere around Ukraine, of course. There are identical Ferris wheels all over the Ukraine. You can even take a ride at one in Kiev. In Kiev, in Holosivsky Park, there's a working Ferris wheel like that. And in like other 5, 6 cities, these are the ones I definitely know. There are like 6 of them in the other cities.
I'll just let him do the phone cameras. The phone photos. On the other. So for all that, something that's never actually operated, or at least was ever used officially.
Yeah. So there were like test runs and stuff,
Yeah.
but it was never fully open yet for the public. So in general, people were living usual life until 11 a.m. on the 27th of April. At that time, from the post office, evacuation message was read. It was told that this is going to be a temporary evacuation because of the small accident on the power plant and not very good conditions for the kids and people in general. Yeah, but nothing too bad. So you have to take the most important belongings and be ready in 3 hours, so at 2 p.m. Near the entrance to your buildings. Yeah, so like close the windows, turn off the gas, the electricity, and you'll be ready at the bottom. At that time, 1,300 buses enter the city and they evacuate 45,000 people in less than 3 hours. Another like 4-ish thousand people stay here in order to maintain the city and maintain the power plant, yet ready to liquidate the accident and start conserving the city. And they also leave around early May, like 3rd, 4th of May, they leave. And of course these people which left, they left everything what they owned here in the city, because they thought that they're coming like for a few days and after that back. So people tried to enter. Yeah, people were trying to pass the checkpoints, enter the city and take some documents, some money, even just some clothes, for example. And it was starting to get a bit uncontrolled. Yeah, I would interrupt. There was a nice tree here. They're trying to eat the fence.
Yeah. Yeah.
So people would try to come back already in even in June. This would start to get a bit messy because some of them would be able to agree at the checkpoint, maybe for some money, for some alcohol, or would just help us connect of some connections. Other won't be, but in general nobody would really control them in the city. So this is a problem. Administration took this serious and completely forbid this possibility. Started controlling. Yeah, in the end of the summer '86, city was fenced with a barbed wire, same as the whole zone. And people were allowed to come back only since like the October, November '86, in autumn '86. But there was no like extra announcement, no extra information about that possibility. So if you don't know any friend, relative who was working here who would actually pass this information to you, you could never find out. And this was the only way to pick up belongings. Yeah, if you wouldn't come in these like 2 months, then your problem. In general, people were not allowed to take anything big, so no like TVs, radios, washing machines, fridges. Only some documents, clothes, some money, some important small belongings. Of course, there were exceptions because some people tell that they were able to agree with someone and take out all the furniture, for example. But in general, it was pretty complicated to do. After that, cleanup process start. So I would show it to you how it looked. Yeah, so the workers would go in every building and throw out everything was at least somehow contaminated. Everything would be thrown away, packed into the cars, and then buried under the soil. So near the Jupiter factory, there's a big point of temporary location of radioactive waste, Pripyat. And all the stuff is there. In addition to that, there are 3,000 cars and 1,500 motorcycles also in that place, because people were not allowed to take them out. And yeah, by the way, we are in the center of the soccer field.
Yep.
We're in Central Stadium.
Oh, okay. This is the part of the stadium.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the field. There are seats in front of us.
Yeah, it used to look a lot better.
Also, like big official opening game never happened here. It's also new. Like so, the fancy center was built later. You know, they started from the places to live for people, places to work, to buy food. But yeah, the fancy center was finished a little later. So we sneaked with you through the fence, but yet with the central entrance.
That is there. I trust you. Oh, yeah, there's a building there. Who knew? Either way.
Here it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely would not have seen this building behind the tree line. At all. And what was this building for?
Pool.
The pool? It's definitely the gym. What is left of it? Yeah, this floor has been weathered. Whoa. Wow. That's a pool. That is a pool. Especially because, hey, you got the high dive. The low and the high dive. So, yeah. Locker rooms. Got your timer clock, I guess, for laps. That is something. You want to take a swim? Got your different lanes for your swimmers, all marked out. You got your high dives. That's really something. It's just such a jungle.
If we look backwards, we could have a look on main entrance to the pool. Name of the pool is Lazur.
That's war.
Yeah, all these kids are standing here. It's kids' pool, but they are standing here because of the school number 3, which is to the left.
That kind of makes sense. You have a school and then like a rec center next door. So.
Here's my mouse.
Oh, you have a little mouse hole.
You can see all the radiators are missing. All the daylight lamps are disassembled because there are transformers and was copper inside.
Valuable.
In general, this was a locker room, but we close here. We never had like a pairs of lockers. It's just for everyone to hang clothes. Guard, guard the room. Yeah. How we call the place in theater where you would leave the area closed before entering.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you could call it a locker room.
You can call it locker room.
Or,
And here is the famous canteen. It's famous because of the kids' gas masks on the floor.
oh,
So in general, they were available in every school here in Pripyat, and they were somewhere in the boxes in the basement. Or somebody brought them eventually. But it's like 20 years like that.
that's crazy. That's a lot of them. And the doll with the gas mask, of
Yeah,
course.
this was already set up by someone.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
Creepy little doll.
the whole gas mask is set up like by a photographer, but real long time ago, like one of the first visitors here.
Yeah, just more and more of them. Probably shouldn't be touching it, but I have a bad habit of that. Small gas mask. Yeah, that's ridiculous. That and then this very old rusted cash register. Well, I see why it's a famous cantina.
Mm-hmm. Yes, take your moving classes. Right.
Yeah. That, though, it's always nice when stuff like this is kind of left to be admired. Kind of as staged as it may be. Oh, yeah. Is quite something to walk into, especially in a place like this, and still see it like this.
I mean, you could go to school and see kids sitting like that also.
And just a whole other classroom too, with a lot of books. A little more destroyed, but still all here. Art supplies. Really neat. Water fountain. Definitely not good anymore. These ones are just wrecked, it looks like. Yeah, unfortunately these ones got torn up. Unfortunately. You love schools. It's like you love schools. Plus I find them a lot. Oh, the rest of these are not going to be as in good a shape as that other one probably.
So here are the transformers. Yeah, for the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, so the pool house. Yeah, there's the fence. There. Yeah, it's so overgrown. It's just, yeah.
And you see, if not cars, I mean, it'd be like this. Oh, there we go. Also, winter helps a bit because the tractor comes and cleans the snow. And with the snow, it also partially cleans the soil a bit more to the side.
Yeah, and then a lot of the foliage dies, so you can actually see through the trees a lot better probably.
Is it?
Oh,
the
yeah.
pole.
There's the star.
Here's the edge of the pool, but we can see it even from here. And here is school number 3. Here's the main entrance. Yeah.
Yeah, the star is a good point of reference. Kind of helps you really go, okay, yeah, straight back.
And there was also a secret part, yeah, for the military. Also, yeah, for some military needs with the radio depot, basically. We were more interested in it after the accident because this is a good base for the facility called Pripyat, which was later dealing with contamination. Yeah, these guys would work here almost until 2000. They would develop different decontamination liquids, different foams to wash some surfaces, to also different substances to kind of clean your body from contamination. They would build the robots on the base of this factory. They would clean them. They would repair them, modernize, and they would work here almost until 2000. And the director was one of the main dosimetrists at the time of liquidation, Yuri Samoylenko. Yeah, this is the administrative building, and the production halls are deeper for the decontamination.
So in the decontamination lab building, you've got the drawings for the robots that we'd seen earlier. A lot more faded, but there's some good ones still. That's pretty neat. like this floor. Wait, look at the spare parts. There's a group outside. Right.
Yes. Not the best. Not the worst cases. And we also breakdowns. This is the director's room. Yeah, it was kind of renovated.
It looks like the big boss's office.
Yeah, Yuri Samolenko here, sitting here.
Plus the stage bottle of vodka.
Later, there are a few stalkers who do some innovations here. We have like big groups of stalkers. One of them are nice, another one are vandals who break and destroy everything.
Whoa, lots of old documents and plans, it looks like. Alright. Go upstairs. Upstairs. Getting kind of high up now.
They did a lot of printing, typing, also because all this field document documentation.
Oh yeah, there's a like a press back there. Some shoes. Yeah, that's old. Cool equipment. Oh yeah. Checking some of their offices in here. Lots of old paperwork. Obviously I can't read any of it. Looks like 230589. 200589, signed 230589. So 3 years after the accident. That's funny. Chernobyl. The Pikachu guy. This is part of the factory?
Yeah. There's a big collapse.
Oh, yeah.
This one probably will be the steel, so I think lots of things were cut. This one is collapsed.
Yeah. Robots that we saw in the morning he was made here, and others were repaired, cleaned and modernized here in these production halls. This is the industry factory. All factory weekends are boring and empty.
This would happen if you would go to a battery factory in Ukraine, yeah, but not in Chernobyl. What do you think is that?
Oh, this is one of those.
Yeah, this is the graphite block. Yeah, so these were inside of the RBMK-1000 reactor.
Oh shit.
I mean, not exactly these ones.
Yeah, this is the actual,
But,
like what
but
they
the
would
same
have
way
been.
if they were, we would feel it with the Geiger counter.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so those sticks that we saw in the morning, yeah, they would be put
In there.
Yeah. And graphite, he would moderate the reactor. He would help the neutrons emitted by the uranium to slow down and react with another uranium atoms and make the reaction go faster. So RBMK-1000 was able to work on very low enriched fuel because of this. Usually you have, like, depending on the position of the rock in pressure water reactor, boiling water reactor, you need to have enrichment of like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% enrichment of the uranium. RBMK needed 1.5%, which is none of the reactors in the world could compete with that.
That's a lot less. ISIS robots. Applications. Definitely a lot of stuff in here.
Clothes had to be cleaned. In the beginning it was pretty bad because ladies would wash them with their hands, and of course the clothes were very contaminated.
Yeah.
But luckily these came later, and there would be like big washing machines inside. You would put them wherever you need and you just wash the clothes.
Yeah, just tow it around.
These are LAS buses. Such were used during the evacuation. LAS, Icarus, yeah, most of these two.
Yeah, like you said afterwards, they couldn't go anywhere, or a lot of them couldn't. They were so. Oh yeah.
Actually, most of them went out,
They-
and there was no control, and they just came back to their usual routes. They were gathered from the factories, from different places, for the evacuation, and then just left after that, because nobody fully controlled what would happen after the evacuation of the people.
More unique graffiti. Yeah.
Yeah, these are tiny cooling towers. They are not always big and fancy. It's only if the facility actually needs to cool down that much water.
Yeah.
So if there is something smaller, you have tiny cooling towers like that. Here is the real underwater Japanese bulldozer.
Oh, yeah.
It's also written Komatsu on this one, and Spetsatom. Spetsatom means that it's from this facility, and it was cleaned. Yes, so some machinery was brought here, and was cleaned. If not, then it would go to the burial site. It's missing wheels, you know, there's a shower in the back also.
Yeah.
It was supposed to work underwater. So it was eventually it was remote controlled.
An impressive machine.
Some pictures, yes, of the cleanup, yes, wash the cars. Yeah, most of the dirt usually, of course, on the wheels, and on the wheels of arches. Here are other tractors. Yeah, often they would be extra shielded with lead. I'm sure there are some cars shielded with lead here in the picture. Yeah, but you'd have extra. Oh, there, the one on top. We see it has something weird in the cabin, and they would shield them with lead additionally to protect, give extra protection. Here are the vases used for washing. You would see some of them. They are pretty big. Usually they were used in quarries to put down the dust. Here they were used for washing big streets. And here you can see how the cabin looks like. So it's tiny, a lot of steel and lead, and window usually made from a lead glass. Here we will see, which stops alpha, beta, and reduces gamma. Here is the concrete reloading station, the one we passed. Yeah, the clean cars coming on top, putting the concrete into the mixers, and they finally bring it to the sarcophagus, and then everything is poured into the walls of the sarcophagus. So there's self-propelled artillery units. So of course no shooting here. I just use the ram to destroy buildings, villages. Was actually standing near the power plant and was moved here last summer. This is probably the most interesting machinery here. This is the obstacle cleaning the vehicle. These were made basically for the World War III kind of to happen, for the conditions of the nuclear war. They were supposed to clean the waste through the radioactive debris, through the destroyed cities, destroyed roads, just push and move everything. They have the ventilation system, so it's safe inside when there is radioactive dust around. And they have these very thick lead glass, the one I was talking about before. You can see there's a yellowish color.
Oh yeah.
In general, there were around 1,000 machines like that produced in the whole Soviet Union. And this was the only way in the history by now to use them. Basically for what they were made for.
Upstairs.
Do you want to take a look at the floor?
Sure. Oh, scary elevators. Oh, that one's pretty nice. It's like laundry, maybe. Yeah, the doors are like padded.
Yeah, this is like cool stuff.
Yeah, so fancy. It's looking as such. Door's kind of wedged shut. Like a stove, I don't know. Oh. Okay. The furniture. That's good. Nice. Just a bunch of old mattresses. The wallpaper just peeling off. Back upstairs. Maybe shaking his head, he's like, really? Okay, even I'm tired now. It's been a long day already. Holy shit. Almost there. Wait. Oh, that kind of stuff. Holy shit. Yeah, I think you hit your head on your head almost. Yeah, holy shit.
Here's our tomorrow's destination after the power plant, Duga Raider.
Oh, yeah.
Oh god, it's so far away.
It looks it really, yeah, it really does. Because there's the reactor right there. Yeah, there's tomorrow. the reactor. Alright, one last look around quick, then we're gonna get down off of here. This is pretty high up. Well, that was fun, but now we're done. We're gonna take our asses back to the hotel and say goodbye to Pripyat. All right.
Press circle.
Well, that was, to say the least, a very thrilling, eventful. I mean, it was a lot of information to take in, a lot of history, but very thorough, but yet compact. That with just the heat, the excitement, and just all the exploring and all the walking around. Ooh, it does tire you out. It's only like 9 p.m. and it's daylight out still, obviously. It doesn't get dark here until almost 10. But we're in our hotel room, and I'm pretty sure both of us are literally probably just gonna take a shower and probably go to sleep after I charge up some batteries. But the cool thing is we are spending the night in the 10K zone, the exclusion zone, at a hotel. So we are staying the night in Chernobyl. So that's pretty cool. But we're going to get some rest after we take care of a few things. And we'll see you guys in the morning for day 2. Alright, morning guys. So it's the next day. This is day 2 in Chernobyl. Sam's just finishing getting ready. We're about to go down and get some breakfast, and then we're going to get on the road. So today we should be going into the back into the 10K. So we're actually in the 30K range. I kind of misspoke last night. We're right next to it, but so today we're going back into 10K. Today we're going to go up to the sarcophagus and the reactor area. Also, I think we're seeing the Dugar station and something else, I think, as well as hopefully, depending on if they shut everything down like they did yesterday, we should maybe even go into the control room today. The actual control room where the malfunction, the accident happened. So let's go. We're going to get some breakfast again, then we're going to get on the road.
So the fish farm, and then some tests were made here. It was functioning almost until 2000, and was closed as many facilities. Many facilities were closed around 2000 because of lack of financial support in this area, because last reactor was working until 15th of December 2000. Yeah, so like more life going on here almost until 2000. But yeah, later everything stopped, and many different tests, long time experiments were never finished, and we don't have the full results. Because when you do something with radioactivity, you can do the test for like half a year or a year and then tell, okay, it's fine or not. Yeah, usually it's a lot of generations has passed, and only then you could see the actual influence.
That, and maybe they don't want to give the results. Maybe. Oh, big bug.
Yeah, so here's plastic egg being spilled in after the accident.
Yes, so it can be washed.
It's always rolled on the edges and stuff. Yeah, okay.
That's what we like to
They're dissecting the fishes and stuff.
That's what we like to see, though. Nice little like surgery nights. Those are always good. Someone's been drinking back here. Yeah, that's pretty.
I mean, these are some leftovers. Formalin, probably.
Yeah.
Ooh, this looks like foot, you know? This is the thumb. But I think this is a caviar from Polish.
Yeah, it's like they're just preserving it though for research later.
I mean, yeah, they were just left here and people eventually.
Yeah.
And you know, this is like an interesting thing I would say about like Soviet, post-Soviet laboratories. I mean, you wouldn't have too much like special stuff, equipment. You know, you just use jars from mayonnaise and ketchup and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, so here the minnows
The minnows.
live, I assume.
They like breed them and then raise them in here to more of a controlled environment, be able to subject them to different levels or different things. Just a bunch of leaves.
Yeah, I never met anyone who worked here because from time to time I meet people in the tours who say, oh yeah, we came here like for 3 years. We were exploring the influence of radiation on this kind of plant, and later we were out of financial support and we never finished here at the time. There was a guy who he was testing this kind of apples. There's like this special kind of apple tree which breeds not with the apples but from the root. So the new apple tree grows from the far end on the root. So basically it's a copy of the previous tree, almost. But we know exactly how much the next tree would differ from the previous one. And we know it 100%, like gene to gene. So the thing they were checking if this next tree isn't more different than it's supposed to be from the original parent tree. But they never finished it fully. Another guy who was checking very popular type of grass which was growing around the whole Soviet Union, and here we had only one species. But because liquidators were coming from all over the Soviet Union, they brought all the kinds of that grass here. And so they wanted to see which quality, so the same type of the grass will work better. Which plant would actually, and they moved to a certain point when I think the most adopted grass was the one from somewhere from Kazakhstan, which receives a lot of sun, so it means a lot of gamma radiation from the space. It was feeling the best here, in reactive conditions. So here were the minks. Yeah, so they would breed the fish, see the influence of contamination on the fish, and then they would feed that contaminated fish to the minks and see how it's influenced on them. Yeah, like really the second step of the food chain.
Yeah, see the next stage, what it would do, if anything at all.
Yeah, the direct impact of the radioactive conditions in the water, and then the secondary. Basically, see how it would affect on people, for example, eating.
Yeah, because then it would go up the next level, probably, or several levels. There's a lot of cages in here. Check. 1.17. He's back there.
So here we were supposed to see the huge artificial lake, one of the biggest in Europe. 23 square kilometers of area, the cooling pond. But they dried out completely. Yeah, we're not pumping water here anymore because power plant is not working. And here was the fish farm around us, yeah, so here you would throw the food. There are these special platforms. Most of them are there and there, you know, the ones you walk on when you feed the fish or check it.
So originally, everything basically down below this wall would have been part of the cooling pond.
Yeah,
For the most part.
For the most part, yeah. More or less was the level of this road.
Okay. Yeah, it's dried out quite a lot over the years.
So water enters the pond a bit more on the right. Then this thing is very important, yeah, because if there would be no this separator, what would go directly left and to the power plant? It wouldn't cool down enough. So this separator goes almost to the very end, so the water makes a very, very big circle until it goes back into the power plant, and this was enough to cool down first 4 reactors. Yeah, for each new reactor we would have to build a cooling tower. Yeah, so you can see the top of the cooling tower for unit number 5. It's unfinished. It's around 90 meters high right now. It would be higher. It would be higher and wider on the top. Yeah, so cooling tower is the facility to cool down the water. Yeah, it doesn't produce any contamination or something. Yeah, it's not smoke going from the top. Usually you see it's steam. Yeah, it's just hot water evaporating. So the thing is that you pump the water to the top inside, you spray it on top, it should be like a sprinkle system, and while it's falling down, it's cooling down, it extra cools down on the radiator plates near the bottom, and then drops into the pool on the bottom, and then it's pretty cool water, and you pump it out back into the cooling pond. This is the most efficient way to cool down big amounts of water in the world. There is nothing better you can do. You don't need any refrigeration system, you don't need any ventilation system, everything is done by itself. It's just because of the circulation of the air, and that's it. Yeah, you just pump the water to the top. This is all what you do.
Yeah, and to think it's not done.
Yeah, but here it would look like this, basically. It stands on the legs, because this is the entrance for the air, for the cold air. It would be a wall about 2 meters high here for the water. Yes, it's like a pool on the bottom. But in general, this hole would remain. And these are the radiator plates here.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, we can go inside,
Yeah,
but
it's
don't
like-
film me there.
Yeah, unless you're standing here looking at it, the scale is... You're not going to get the scale on video very well. Unless you're actually standing here.
Eventually these plates will be covering the whole area. And the sprinkle system on the top here, which is standing completely finished.
This is the ventilation plates. It is impressive.
Because usually when we measured radiation, yeah, the dust was somewhere deeper in the soil, 30-40 centimeters. Here in the center, it's just on the concrete.
You got the Geiger, don't you? I guess.
It's not much. It's like here in some spot we'd measure like 3, 4,
Ah.
and maybe like 10 in the center. The problem is not the actual measurements, but the dust isn't underground. It's not always. Yeah, just once in a while one of the tourists would get dirty and we'd just stop going there.
It just kind of stirs it up a little bit.
Because then on the relief checkpoint we stop, like 20 minutes to try to wash his shoes. If it wouldn't work, we have to leave them,
It's crazy to think to work up there. It's so high.
So this is the graffiti made from a photo. Photo was made by Igor Kostin. He was one of the first photographers here at the place of the accident. He made a lot of interesting pictures, and this is very popular. This is the surgeon after the heavy surgery. He's actually just sitting on a bench in a hospital. But this central part, his face is used for graffiti in the memory of Igor Kostin, who died definitely quicker than he's supposed to, because he received a lot of radiation.
We're inside the power plant, and we're about to go get suited up to get into the reactor area. We just went through security, got tested, make sure we're clean of radiation, so we're going inside. Let's go. We're getting a little history lesson right now, so let's start listening.
We've got 2 such facilities. A few words about installation like this. So installation like this stands everywhere. When you come from more contaminated area to less contaminated area, so theoretically there is more contaminated, and there it is less contaminated area. So these installations for measuring beta particles. Beta particles is something like this surface contamination, like radioactive dust or some particles that stays at the surface of your uniform, or better if it is uniform, or some clothes, or something worse if it is at your into the key and you can leave it for a week, or a month, or a few years. And here are lots of equipment without reactor cores, without turbines, lots and lots of special equipment. So here also pictures, videos as you wish, but please don't pick up the receivers, because even now they have a straight connection with our director-in-chief, main engineer, and that guys also don't like them. Now please try to find with your name, please, because if you want
These all test different types of stuff. Handheld meters, more. We have like self devices, but these detect such low radiation levels that they're pretty much useless here, like completely useless.
Joints or without welding. This wall together. So it should be reinforced because under 2013, one of the wall, this one started moving here, and it caused danger of collapse. And of course, great amount of radiation could be released. So, but this is the central hole of the unit, I guess number 3. But they are the same.
Alright, so we're done. We're literally about to go get suited up to get into the actual power plant reactor area. So, yes, let's do it. Yeah, now we're talking.
A few words about my open hole.
This is the hall into the reactor. We just crossed the little sky bridge, and we're now going into the actual power plant, reactor, zone, almost into the sarcophagus area. And it's so great. Yeah, we're gonna see you can see a little bit higher radiation now, but it's looking good. Sam is looking snazzy too.
The moment of disaster, workers on the unit, difficult to get rid of that contamination. So, except cutting. So, cut part of this one. Some are 5, some are 10 centimeters on the surfaces. Should be cutted, then covered with the fresh concrete. After that, covered with these panels to make the process of decontamination easier.
I don't know why you're so cranky. I'm wearing it too.
Okay, air Fisher.
Yeah, but that's perfect size for you.
They also gave us at the entrance another thing to measure radiation. They're even going to give us the results at the end, and now we have a third one, just in case. So we're making our way further into the power plant, the reactor area. So we're just again making our way closer and closer. So this is going to take us a little while to get into this large area. But there is filming a lot in a lot of the areas, but not in a lot of areas too. So that's why there's kind of some gaps in the video. So.
There inside located 21,000 fuel assemblies that collected only from, it was collected only from our power plant from 1977 to 2000 till the unit number 3, the last one was operational.
Ow.
I like seeing the number.
So,
She read 8 microsieverts on it. That's so cool. Stuff is the computer that administers like safety systems regarding the reactor.
Whoa.
holy shit.
Whoa.
The tapes. Oh my god. We can photograph Sal?
Yes! You can go anywhere, touch and press all the buttons.
You're not kidding.
He just started clicking.
Wait.
All this equipment, of course, out of water. So it's like a huge, it used to be like a huge computer
Yeah.
to control
Pretty much.
reactor cores of the unit number 3 and 4. The same was the units number 1 and 2. By the way, total capacity of all these computers used to be 800 kilobytes. Monsters. But for that time it was good enough. So, just a few words about this thing. So, information from the detectors that were located inside the reactor core. Yeah, that's the thing. So, information from the detectors that located inside the reactor core first came here. Which kind of information, like temperature of the water, temperature of the steam, density of the steam, and first of all, the main, it's reactivity. But information came here for a very long time, for about 18 seconds. It shouldn't be like that, especially for the nuclear industry. Here everything should be changed just in a second. So that is why not very reliable system.
This is so cool. So this helped control like the old reactor 2 and 3 apparently. Way back in the day. Like this is the old systems. Yeah, this stuff is crazy. What little it did for how much it took. But it was effective for that day and age, so. What do you playing with buttons.
Places here. Control room number 3, because there all the equipment, all the buttons, all these places. In the control room, of course, it would be more interesting, but there all the equipment almost totally dismantled and replaced. It is cutted in some places and a little bit contaminated. So better not to stay there for a long time. And here it is more interesting. So please.
This is so cool though.
Yeah, so RBMK-1000. RBMK it is in Russian, реактор большой мощности канальный, in English, boiling type, graphite moderated reactor of huge capacity of 1000 megawatts. So this panel constantly in operation, that one in case of something.
There's so many buttons and switches in here. It'd be so easy to get lost.
Yellow
And you've got this info panel.
First class. So,
It's
for
just
example,
so much.
not the biggest amount of the reactor cores now, it's watering type of reactors. So you load it with the fuel, and for 3 or 4 years it works. After that, it should be stopped to change the fuel, to maybe or something. And so for 3 or half a year or 6 months, reactor will be stopped. Here, theoretically,
I don't know how anyone kept control of this. I mean, God.
we shouldn't stop it. Of course,
So much.
It is loaded also with the fuel, working programs for about 3 or 4 years also. It depends.
It's just so cool. It's in still such good shape. And that some of it still powers on.
This type of reactor could work
Obviously,
all the time.
Don't touch anything, preferably,
It
but
keeps running,
some of it
keeps
still
producing
powers on, so that's really cool.
Heat, it produces steam, because reactor by itself won't produce electricity. Electricity produced by turbine generators. 3 nuclear power plants with such type of reactor still operational because of electricity, but as far as I'm concerned, I think that because of that military plutonium, because they got it for free. If you
Homemade.
so
Homemade, yeah. Homemade.
well, few words about that night. If it is interesting, if it's not, well,
It's interesting.
I'll try to explain. But I should warn you that this is my point of view. My father also worked at this power plant more than 25 years. I asked him several times. So first I asked him to make, because I also wanted to work here, always, but I wanted to work at the working power plant. My father told me all the time, find a normal job for you. Not here, this swamp, don't go there, please, son. But still I, please. Crying. So, this is the drawing of the unit. Reactor core, so this is upper biological protection, lower protection from the sides. Main
These are all
circulation
filled with water.
is the pipelines here.
All this is water.
We're about to go in the, apparently go in the reactor here in a few minutes. And we have a 5-minute maximum limit we can be in there because the radiation is so much higher in this control room. So I think our sensors are going to start going off probably. So that's going to be fun.
Okay, watch your step, careful. Don't step.
Oh, yes.
Also, please, no problems, no videos. Before it looked even better than control room of unit number 3. But it was dismantled some 10 years ago, a little bit more. Here all the equipment was on its position and everything. These panels, they were covered only with the plastic, and that's it. This wall wasn't here before, we constructed wall, so this room wasn't closed, so everybody could get in, to switch on or switch off something. But of course, everything was out of the water, don't work, because nothing to operate with this control room.
Wow.
So in that position and there, this equipment was patented. And our directors wanted to dismantle it at all because they said that this is a bad place, bad karma in here, and everything happened here. And they wanted to dismantle it totally. Somehow, when we talked, well, not me, but to show you this for a few seconds. First, we removed the memorial for Valeria issue. He was the senior operator of the main circulation plant. He was he also was the only one whose body was never found, so his body is somewhere there inside here now. A few times our personnel tried to find him. First time it was just right after the disaster. His friend, Valery Perevozchenko, also Valery, not Perevozchenko, and 2 other guys for 3 hours traveled all over the destroyed unit number 4, trying to find them. That it wasn't successful, they didn't find him, but got enormous doses of radiation by themselves. Soon after that, somebody in 2 weeks, someone 3 weeks. They dropped without any even mass. Because there's no time to search for him. Very powerful machine, so nothing was to work. That is because of ventilation. What's the number? If you want a little bit later, I will show you. My phone cannot do pictures of light, so it's still yours. Okay, let's go. So, 4 pumps located here, 4 pumps located there. Between them, located reactor core. But we are now at 12.5 meters above the ground. Okay, reactor core.
It is dark in here. Oh, that's all right. I don't have a light on me, so it is what it is.
So detector located there. While that the more dangerous, everything already happened. I think the question is that this is not provocative. Right, example was sharp surface sensor.
Nope, go away.
Stay alive in that condition. Of course, I guess.
Just this little side door here.
Keeping it hard. surfaces should be washed, and that water should go there. Under it, more located the same. Under it, the same. And it goes down, down, down.
There. Hotspot.
Okay, let's go there.
Hotspot.
We should visit the last point.
I love this. This is really interesting. There. Hey, back into the smoker hallway.
And I want to show you the upper plane, the reaction point. So, 6 units at the right bank of the Pripyat river where we are now. And the same, the 6 units at the left bank of the Pripyat river. All in all, it should be 12 units.
Is that gas alarm?
Looks like it. It should be the biggest industrial object, not only here.
That's a bat. There's a baby bat right there. I didn't think we'd see bats in here.
Bats?
Yeah, we just walked right past one.
It was a dead bat, right?
It was on the floor. I don't know if it was dead. It looked like it was sleeping.
Mask on. And gloves.
The great door. No, people in here. Very big. If you want, you can still put here.
Wow.
So this upper plate, the biological protection is to 300 kilos. Upper plate with part of channels, it weighs 3,500 tons. The unit number.
Amazing. This is awesome. You can walk on it. This is so cool.
30 meters.
Straight up in it. We're straight on top of this stuff. The place is quite impressive, as usual. Everything about this place is amazing, to say the least.
The driver, the Chernobyl. Under it, located fireplace. 7 meters under, and below me 7 meters of reactor. Rust under approximately 15 meters.
Yeah, this is
That fueling machine is like a few water, 4 holes located inside, one with fresh fuel, another one with wasted fuel, and 2 additional in case something.
we have another one. Sensor going off.
When the process of refueling started,
This
operator
is just. This is amazing. I really didn't expect it to be quite like this. So this is quite something. You're actually standing on the top of like the cores. It's really nice. I like it a lot. Yeah? Huh? I was so talkative.
Oh, because there's a behind me.
Because it's going that way. You'll get a chance on the way out of the.
Oh, yes.
Take off your shoes. So take a seat.
At least we're not on the mask anymore.
It's nice. You can hear that Alan Turing Enigma machine go. I'd love to hear that noise in person.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I kind of feel like when they teach you computer science.
It's time for lunch. Late lunch, but it's time for lunch. Let's see what we got.
Salad.
Nothing with cheese, please.
Just sit.
Let's see what we got. There's a big piece of cheese on the first plate.
Yeah, you can take it.
Okay. We're just going to skip ahead. We're meat eaters.
Стоят здесь. Куда ехать 5 человек? Вот это новость. Вы кушаете мясо? Вы кушаете мясо? 4 или 5? Скажите, вот, пожалуйста. И вам сейчас положу. Хорошо?
И еще одного мяса.
Сейчас мясо ложу и вегетарианцам тоже ложу. Пожалуйста, и берем суп.
Oh, and some bread. We have just grab.
Десерт.
And that's sweets. 1 glass of juice, 1 glass of compote.
Okay.
That red one, that is tomato juice, and that made of berries.
Okay.
Don't know which.
That works for me.
I don't have good balance. I'm too short.
No, this is getting heavy. I was like, oh my. So let's see, for lunch we have a mixture of coleslaw with cheese, a soup, rice with a little bit of, it looks like onion and chicken or pork, and then some bread or a sweet, depending on what you want. This is what we got, and juice and berry juice. Not bad for in Chernobyl. Not bad. Enjoy. So this is interesting. Sarcophagus. When opened,
Yeah.
we were there.
Concessions have to be made.
Like
So-
inside.
Some
That's control room
7
4.
or 8 years ago, this
That's
part of the wall
quite a
of the
display.
turbine hole should be stabilized.
That'd be the main reactor
stabilized.
Alright, we just finished at the reactor inside there, seeing the control room and everything. So now we got some other places to go before we get out of Chernobyl. So we'll check with you guys in a little bit.
Oh, by the way, they didn't ask anything about the camera?
Nope.
No? Good. So we are in a military part of secret military settlement called Chernobyl 2. There are like two big parts of the settlement, the military one and the civil one is deeper behind the trees. So basically it's kind of like a Pripyat, but for the antenna, yeah, not for the power plant. I'm saying it's built specially for the workers and infrastructure for the workers living here. It's closed, yes, so nobody extra can enter, yes, and no friends or relatives. I mean, of course, it's not a prison. If you really needed to go somewhere, yeah, it's possible, but complicated. Around 1,500 people were living here. It's an approximate number. Yeah, we don't have any good documentation left from here. There's military administration on the left. A bit deeper behind the trees, there are barracks. It's hard to see from here.
Yeah.
Soon on the left we would see canteen, a tiny shop, some storage buildings also behind the trees on the right. This is almost it, yeah, for the military part. And civil part is basically small, normally functioning city. There is school, there is kindergarten, canteen, shop, tiny hospital, even a hotel for some important guests. Heating plant, firefighter station, tiny town. Then here on the right, if you would like, you could go closer and see a pretty famous propaganda character on the wall of the building behind the branches. Oh my god, it's impossible to see it from here. Like the Soviet version of Uncle Sam, you know, like pointing at you and telling that,
Yeah.
do you want to volunteer?
Might as well.
It's arguable where the Soviet part came from American or from the very original, from the British one.
Follow the trail.
Yeah, this is the Red Army soldier pointing at you and telling, did you volunteer?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Kind of a... And the spider webs. Yeah, it's picking up the bits. There we go, it's a little better.
In general, this is like cult painting, because later there were like thousands of different interpretations of this used in art and pop culture.
Oh, right.
So this was already the entrance only for those who directly worked at the Duga radar. Yeah, so your wife, kids, or some just other guys in the infrastructure of the settlement, but who were not directly working at the Duga radar, they won't be able to pass these gates. For everybody else who wasn't working here, this thing in general was the center of far radio connection. So you never would openly talk that this is the radar to spot United States missiles. Yeah, some antenna. And it's a usual thing that you would never tell your wife what you're actually doing at your job, especially if you're working at a secret object, military object. The less they know, the better they sleep.
Yeah. It's and again, to think that like that one guy climbed the top of that thing. It's like, why? Why would you want to do that? Quite a structure. How long is it? Like how long does it go down?
It's 150 meters high and 500 meters long. And after it, right away, there is a high frequency part because this one is for low frequency. It's 95 meters high to 150 meters long. So together, 750 meter long iron wall in the middle of the forest. And not easy to hide it.
No.
And of course, it was easily visible. We are receiving the signal from the north. Here, we don't need anything from the south. That's why these cables on the left, yeah, they are on top of us. They are screening all the signals coming from the south. So we have clean image from the north. We are sending and receiving signal over the North Pole. Another antenna, because there were two of them, was located on the far east of Russia, near Komsomolsk-on-Amur. That antenna was sending and receiving the signal over the Pacific Ocean. So using basically the equator direction, and we were using the pole direction.
Yeah, it's yeah, you would never get away with building anything like this.
This was the abandoned kids summer camp. On the maps it be shown as the abandoned pioneer camp. So this guy in general with the graffitis, he kind of making fun of the tourism here. Now that this guy is like looking, it's Pokemon Go, I think. Yeah, he's like looking here now, and he's dressed like a kid, you know, and the other guy is protective suit. But at the same time, I mean, he was going here with a stalker, and stalkers also do the tourism for money. Yeah, they do the illegal tours, and you pay them. So this is the same, but from the other side.
Yeah, they're partially looted and taken down.
Proper way to cut down something like that is to blow it up, put it on the ground, and then cut it on the ground. But you need some specialists for that. This was usually just done some, you know, guys on the shift, low qualified workers who just doing that for some guy on top here in the zone.
Yeah, I would say just blow it up too.
That's
Via
there are no specialists, and you know this is only what they did. It's still standing.
There's just a lot of the pieces left over
Yeah, we
everywhere.
farther, you will
Looks
see
like.
more of them there.
Yeah, it's just a it's just a scrapyard over here. Yeah.
Yeah, we can walk around. There's a cool place behind it. You can see also the other fires everywhere here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you saw a lot of sand. Yeah, people were usually asking, like, who brought this sand over here? Like, what is it doing? This was probably, you know, to have it nice and flat in front of the antenna, 100%. There were even guys who are telling that the sand was brought here. But this is how it looks in Police. Yeah, these guys are okay. Trying to reach it. So the complicated thing about this is that you have to make the whole surface of this antenna work as the one. So you have to retune each signal, each piece which comes to your computer eventually to make it transmit the same signal, exactly the same as it receives, and to make it transmit exactly the same, and make it receive it the same with the whole area. So there were like big rooms in the back just with the plates, which could actually change the signal. So right now we would do it like a program way, but back then it was still like a piece of the equipment basically, which was programmed to work with a certain type of signal. And also, like, sun starts to heat it heats unevenly, and also like tiny bit difference, you know, with the conduction of the electricity, so it's complicated. And actually the bigger it is, the better it is. Yeah, so the wider you make it, the higher you make it, the higher accuracy you get. So an original idea was to build something even much bigger at Kamchatka. But it was abandoned because it was hard to get a stable amount of electricity to Kamchatka, so it had to be probably all the time on the generators, which is complicated, very expensive. And then the idea about two smaller ones came, and also facing different directions, because there was a fear in the beginning that if the missile would fly directly at the antenna, there might be a long time until it would finally see it, because it is a small surface. So they decided to build two, so you definitely, one of them would see the antenna, the rocket from the side. But in general, yeah, they were not like directly connected. They could work on their own. And you needed, yeah, the low frequency, the high frequency, to change the frequency a bit, depending on the condition of the ionosphere, because sometimes one frequency would reflect better, sometimes other frequency. And like kilometer behind us, there is another tiny system called Krug, the circle, which would have two concentric circles of the receivers and transmitters, sending the signal up, receiving it back, and constantly scanning the ionosphere, understanding which conditions are better for which frequencies, and then this info would go to the transmitter, and you slightly change the signal. Yeah, here we can see some very initiative guys who are already cutting off the parts of the...
Oh yeah, right there on the base. Yeah, it's not gonna help the structure.
Now here they were a bit picky. Yeah, only nice thick pipes. You know, no like things like that. You know, then aluminium, copper, make sense of radio detail. So we can still just gather money here, just laying on the ground. .750 length of the corridor. Here's the ventilation. These ventilation like engines on top and pump the air in many places. Yeah, every like 10 meters because we a lot of heat there.
Yeah.
Yes, it's big antenna still, old machinery, so it's high voltage and a lot of heat from cables. AC actually like the biggest amount of power in the station wouldn't go on the computing system, it would go on the cooling. And the cooling of this and the cooling of computers, because it's 86, computers have the frequency still in kilohertz, yeah, not in megahertz, even and then not talking about gigahertz, it's 10. Yeah, it is huge. Yeah, if you heard about computers sizes of buildings, this is more or less that time, yeah, 70s, 80s. And here was like a top-notch sort of too.
Just really
And
big in here.
fire extinguishing rooms. They weren't able to use water here because of the electricity, so there was a home fire extinguishing system. Cables originally were under the floor. Yeah, this was just the maintenance space of the corridor. So you would take care here about the ventilation, you have access to the cables, now everything was 15 meters. So basically there is not even a place in the cable where you don't have access. So in the poles and the antenna and the ladder is inside, so you go in the pole and actually check something there. From the antenna's pole to here there was a tunnel under the ground. Here also have access to everywhere, and then it enters to the buildings. And we would go to different one. Yeah, this is the high frequency.
Oh yeah.
We would go to the maintenance room for low frequency.
Main control building for the frequencies.
Here's the fancy entrance.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of all of equipment back here. It's broken, but it's cool in here, but it smells of mold. Like these doors.
Cable channel.
Okay.
Go here. So this was filled with cables, of course. It was spread either under the floor or depending on
Yeah, a bunch more channels.
We'll take a look there. Let's take a glance here.
Yeah. This is better.
As you can see. Yeah, you can see that the workers have to eat.
Oh, meals. Back of the TV. And there was a lot of nice little touches. Especially the murals. Oh.
So here were the switches. Basically, you have the main electricity supply would come here and distribute it on the building.
Wow, that's a lot. Yeah.
Here already were more copper. So more money.
Everything got stripped out easily.
There's a big transformer on the right. Here was the oil cooling radiator.
Yeah. Another one. There's just so many old parts. Just everywhere. That was the main control building.
At the receiver building is also identical. Sorry, at the transmitter building is identical. Yes, so it's the same, and the transmitter was about the size of the high frequency antenna.
Let's scrap metal out here. A little pathway up here. It's solid. Whoa.
So this is the big cooler. Yeah, so half of this building is a few computers basically. And here's the cooling, so huge ventilation engines you're standing here. There are a few left in different buildings, so I will show you so you would get what I'm talking about. And there was also water cooling system, so there was a radiator inside. Water was cooled there with air, so it would be a lot of heat, crazy amount of heat. Basically, the ground floor is the cooler and electricity supply. The whole first floor is the ventilation, just the spread of the cables and ventilation to the computers. And the second floor is the huge motherboards. Here's the conspiracy theory for you. There are 8 lights over here.
Yeah.
And there are only 3 floors in this building. This is the civil elevator. There is a cargo elevator on the other side. Inside of it, there is a plate with the numbers. It has 8 buttons for 8 floors, and there are only 3 floors in this building.
So they're thinking 5 underground.
Nobody found the way down, and it looks like there is nothing like that. But you know, it could be that in Soviet Union they just didn't have like a 3-floor thing.
Yeah, they just had to get an 8 or something like that.
So it could be like that. But yeah, there are 8 numbers inside.
That is interesting. Let's go upstairs. That's a whole film everywhere. You heard it first, conspiracy theories. I like it.
This thing is the ventilation pipe on top of us, yeah? So the ventilation is spread in here to each part of the computer. There are separate engines for different parts of the computer. You have to extra push the air. And all the cables here were on these shelves. Yeah,
Okay.
You see a lot of them.
Yeah.
All of that was aluminum. You can also see many green pipes over there. This was the water cooling. There would be a lot of water also to cool
Oh,
down
yeah.
everything. Crazy lot of heat produced here. So this whole floor basically is the ventilation of the whole building. There's also left, there's farther right.
Yeah, well, the old big computers throw off a lot of heat compared to
Yes.
the modern ones. Just keeps going and going.
Yeah, this is not the wall yet. It's deeper than you see. Yes. It's actually basically the same room on the right, so you can see something, yeah?
Yeah.
And there is this room to the left. Also.
What a nightmare to run this place, like troubleshooting the wiring.
Careful.
Yep.
Here is some more important room because this one was shielded with steel completely, so it's hermetic. Yeah, we passed the sealed door, and here is steel everywhere. Before there are no windows also.
Okay.
And on top is the same, yeah, so it's a more important part of computers here. Theoretically, this was the part of computers used for calibration. They would produce here the ideal signal and put it on the computer for the comparison with the reflection that they get from the receiver. Yeah, the receiver would send the signal, and here they would compute the same signal, and this had to be shielded from any electronic signals from outside to give you the ideal. This is probably what it is. Yeah, it's not 100%, but this is probably what it is. Let's see.
Yeah.
Back in the days, we would use radioactive smoke detectors. We would have an ionizing element over there to use it to see if there is smoke or not. Right now we use optic, but back then it would be radioactive. Radioactives are still better, but they are very hard to utilize later, so we refuse to use them. It's tiny difference. It's better to use beta measurement here, but there is 14. It would get tiny bit more. 15. Slow. 16. Not much more than that. But under that cap, there is plutonium. Plutonium is mostly beta and alpha decaying. Yeah, so the gamma levels are not that high. If we remove that cap and use the beta dosimeter, you would see much higher levels. But it was doing the thing because it's supposed to just ionize the air, and the current was able to go through the ionized air. If there is smoke in the air, smoke particles, they would put the ions together, and the current would stop going. So or you don't understand what I'm saying, no?
A little bit. But
So current can go through the ionized air.
Okay.
It doesn't go through the usual air.
Yeah.
If there is high levels of radiation, there are ions appearing in the air, basically, and they are able to conduct electricity.
Okay.
If you have this ionized source nearby, it means that you can conduct electricity in the air on small distances. So there is like one needle and the other needle, and the current is constantly going. If there is a dust particle getting there, the ions are sticking to the dust particle, and the current stops going. And then it signalizes that there is a smoke. And this is extremely precise, much more precise than to use optic ones. Because optic ones need to see that actually the visibility is getting worse, and you need much more, relatively much more smoke to see that. So we are leaving our precise room.
Okay.
The seal doors. Go back in the room. And to the left. And top. Up.
Oh.
So here were the computers. It's right now. So in these shelves like in front of us, they would be here, on every hall, on top of every hall.
Okay.
It looks for us right now like a big server room, but actually it was like a few computers here. They were just big. Usually one row is the one computer. And the second row is the same computer but doubled, because it's a military, so they would always double everything. And everything is huge. Right now the transistors are sizes of nanometers, and here they're still centimeters.
Yeah. Yeah, bunch of old stuff.
This is a memory circuit. And it can, I don't know how much could store, like kilobytes?
Probably something like that.
Yeah, so these are contacts, and it's hard to see which way. This one is still packed, okay. There are like a lot of copper shreds there, which form like a huge net over there. And then on the crossings of that, there are tiny thingies which could actually gather a charge. And this would be a byte, either charge or not. That's also pretty open. Way to store the memory. Store the data. Here was probably the calibration room. Here you would actually try to see the distortions, to remove the distortions from the signal that you get from the antenna when it's conducting, so all the cables and everything, to just make everything work to get the clean signal.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
In the end. So here is your remote, which responds for each shelf over there. Each shelf over there has things which it's kind of a chip, probably, yeah. So we can program it. Yeah, you can see there are these graphite sticks over there. You put them here, and it is their 100, 100. So this is their like a handmade chip, basically. Then you put it on a shelf here, and it does a certain thing with the signal. It changes a bit. So you program like tons of these.
All over the
put it in
place.
the shelves. Yeah, they're all over the room.
Everywhere.
You put them in the shelves, and then you press a button and you do a certain thing with the signal. You try to remove all the fluctuations, all the problems. I mean, right now, all of that would be done programmed. We are not manual. We have the all in one place in computer.
Yeah.
Like you could change like this base, you know, it was one server.
They're just stacked everywhere. There's more.
This was the top-notch computer system of the 80s in the Soviet Union. It was like nothing better, more powerful, complex than this.
Yeah, that one's in much better shape than this one. But yes, they're still just everywhere. Yeah. That's interesting. All right, off to the main control room. Guess I mean.
I think I did backwards.
Oh, here?
Here it is.
Oh, shit.
The Holy Grail Booga Rigger.
Yeah, I could tell this was quite a bit of a setup.
Here you would finally understand how the nasty Americans shooting rockets at you and now. So there were no big screens at that time in front, so they were just basically like areas with the plastic sides and all that. Stating like that this is this kind of power, this kind of power inside. You variate like thousands of different
Now on the rooftop, more graffiti. It's listening. There's the back of the Dugard. That's just like metal settling or falling off that thing. It's quite something. Alright, well, that was it for the woodpecker and the main control building. So, yeah. So warm.
Study.
And this would just help them learn how to use all the systems to control the antenna.
Control elements, some signals basics, your frequency basics.
Yeah, so they can help adjust that stuff as they learn later on.
And on top you have different rockets here, American ones we're filming right now, the Titan, Minuteman, Poseidon and Polaris. There is the American system of the same on top, you have of the same principle.
Yeah.
ANF, FPS 85.
Yeah. Huh.
Also using the reflection from the ionosphere.
That's interesting. A little study hall. Yeah, they come here and just learn some of the basics. Little prints. There would be the teacher or the instructor. It's really interesting stuff. That's really interesting.
As our time in Chernobyl came to a close, following all that we had seen and learned, we weren't ready to go. But as our venture back to Kiev began, it gave us time to reflect and wonder just what will happen to this amazing location in the future.